welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're doing my April reading wrap up and we do have my first DNF of the year, so stay tuned for that one. But before we hop in the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. April was a trying month for me. If you watched any of my past videos, you know that I lost my mama, went through that. I've been dealing with a bunch of health problems. But surprisingly, I think I made it through a decent number of books, and I did find some good reads this month. I just did not find any 5 stars. But hopefully today is May 1st. I'm about to go see Thunderbolts this evening, so if you are also a Marvel fan or just like a Yelena Belova fan, like I am, but we're also a Bucky Barnes fan. Let's face it, I love a good anti-hero. Please leave your thoughts down below, just no spoilers, because this is a spoiler-free area. Let's start with our reading stats. I read 6 books in the month. I DNF'd one of those, so I technically only completed 5. We had 4 romance, 1 nonfiction / memoir, and then 1 horror book. 3 adult, 3 YA, even split this month. I read 2 on my Kindle, 3 physically, and I listened to 1 audiobook. And of the books that I read, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them were queer reads. So we love it. We're gearing up for Pride Month. I am going to be working at a camp most of Pride Month, but you know I will be coming at you with the queer recs, the queer reads, because we are a prideful rainbow channel over here. So let's go ahead and hop into all the books I read in the month of April. First up, we have Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Raish. So this is the sequel to The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I do believe it's just a duology from what I've read, although I think it should be a trilogy because there's one other character in there in that little interconnected standalone series that I think deserves a little sapphic love situation, but I digress. This one follows Kris Kringle. He is the second in line for the Santa throne, and currently Christmas is experiencing a little problem in that someone has linked a device to steal Christmas joy from them, and they discover that this person is from St. Patrick's Day. So Kris goes on a fact-finding / PR mission to meet the heir or the king of St. Patrick's Day himself to try and figure out what's going on. And while he's there, he happens to start getting a few feelings for Lachlan, aka the Irish Prince. This book, loved it more than The Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think, was a lot of world building, but it was also, the plot was just so convoluted in my mind. I'm like, the suspense of disbelief here is getting real hard to suspend and all that and so on and so forth. But I love The Nightmare Before Christmas because the swooniest, like, romantic little scenes and lines were thrown at us, and Go Luck Yourself just really played into that one. I do wish we got dual POV for these stories because I would like to see the counterparts' thoughts, because I feel like there's a lot going on in their heads that would make it so good. But yeah, I ended up giving it 4.25 stars and 1.5 chili spice. She's spicy, but I don't think she's the spiciest read I've ever read. I would say, like, if you kind of want, like, just, like, seasonal queer reads, these are for you because you've got your little, like, Christmas read and then you got your little, like, spring St. Patty's Day read. I don't know if she's going to come out with another one. Then I completed The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. So I am going through Talia Hibbert's backlist. I've read her YA debut and then her Brown Sisters trilogy, and I do believe this series is the one before the Brown Sisters, or one of her more early works. I'm not sure the name, but it is a series of interconnected standalones that starts with The Princess Trap. In this one, we are following Cherry, who works in HR at this very private school. And while she's working there one day, this prince walks in, but she doesn't know it's a prince of this foreign land, and he is very infatuated with Miss Cherry. So Roman invites her out to a lunch date, but while they're out on the lunch date, they get a little touchy-feely, and the paparazzi clocks them. So Roman lies to the paparazzi to save face and say, actually, you can't take pictures of her because she is my fiance. So now they're forced into a, like, engagement of convenience deal, fake dating situation, and Cherry and Roman live in the same little estate for a month or 2. This, if you don't like insta-love, this is in fact insta-love, insta-lust situation. Roman is bisexual. We love a bisexual male main character because I feel like we don't see it a lot. So if you're looking for that, well, actually I think both of them are a little fruity, but it's just confirmed that Roman is bisexual situation. And yeah, but do check trigger warnings for this one, because Roman does deal with a lot of like family and parental abuse. And then Cherry, she's got her own situation going on, but Roman is the main character who's dealing and going through it. I gave this one 4.5 stars and 1.5 chili spice. You know, I don't know if I've just become numb to spice, but some of these books probably should be higher spicy ratings, but I digress. It's short, it's quick, it's a fun little read, and I'm excited to continue on in the series. Next, we have a new sapphic fave unlocked. This is Love Points to You by Alice Lynn, and it is a YA, like, sapphic coming-of-age / romance novel. I would consider this a romance novel, however, there is a lot more coming-of-age elements to it, which I think some of the best YA romance novels have mostly coming-of-age to it. But to each their own on this. This one we're following Linda Fan, whose whole life is surrounded by art. That's what she wants to do with her life. She is saving up and trying to get into this very prestigious art school. But after her dad remarried and now she has a stepsister, she's finding that her dad and her new stepmom seem to be funneling all the cash into new said stepsister. So when Linda is in need of money and Angela Wu offers up 10 grand to help her create the Otome game of Angela's dreams, she can't refuse. And while they are working together, they start to form a little romance. So if you're looking for sapphic and demisexual representation, this one's for you. This is just cutesy, little fluffy, like, if you want just something lighthearted, like, the way I would describe Heartstopper, like Heartstopper is just like the sweet, cutesy little queer romance that we all needed as kids, because like a lot of romance, especially queer romance, is very over-sexualized. So if you want something like that, this one's for you. I gave this one 4.5 stars, 0 spice, because there is none. I feel like you could have guessed that. Let's talk DNFs for the month. So I feel like people could have guessed, if you saw my April TBR, you probably could have guessed this was the book I pulled from my out of comfort zone read, and it's a YA horror novel. Not to say that I haven't enjoyed novels that have horror aspects to them. My whole life I've never gone out of my way to seek it out. I've become more indifferent to it recently. Sinners, it's one of the only horror movies that I'm like absolutely in love with, next to like Fear Street, so that's where I am. I don't really have a lot of love for horror books. And this one really did not get me going. So in Welcome to Fear City, we are following Sylvie. She has this unique ability of that anything she touches, she can see the past, the entire past of what happened in that location, basically up to a certain degree, or at least up to the last 10 years. It can't be super recent. But she's having this trouble because every time she goes to dance class now, she is bombarded with images of a girl getting shot over and over again, and she can't understand why that's happening. She's also experiencing a lot of supernatural happenings. Her hindsight's becoming a little darker and filled with some shadowy figures, along with a bunch of other things going on in her life. And this is also historical. It is set in the 1970s when a big serial killer is running about New York City. So tensions are high. However, the thrilling aspect of this was absolutely none. I feel like if you are a horror or a thriller novel, you must in some way evoke some disgust or thrilling feelings from me. I was bored. There was no way this was getting more than a 3 stars. And every time I thought I became interested in the characters or the romance or the horror like aspect storyline of it, it quickly went away. There is a little romance brewing in this, but I was just like, do not care. This one, obviously I DNF. There is some fade to black spicy scenes in this one. It is the 70s, so free love is about. You may like it. I just really didn't care enough to finish it. Next up, we have my audiobook / memoir for the month, and that was Master of Me by Kiki Palmer. This is an interesting one because I picked it for my nonfiction. I think it was a memoir read for my TBR is what I was supposed to pick. And I picked this one because it's classified as memoir, but I definitely think it leans more into the self-help motivational aspect of things. So if that's what you're looking for, this one's for you. If you don't know who Kiki Palmer is, she is an actress, child actress who rose to fame on like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon with L'Aquila and the Bee, and then True Jackson VP, and then she kind of grew up in the ranks doing a lot of different projects. Most certainly, I think people can pick her out from Jordan Peele's Nope, or One of Them Days, which I have yet to watch, but it's on Netflix, and she's been doing well. She also has a music career. She's a famous bisexual woman. There's a lot to talk about, and she's also very famously known for a bunch of memes. So it's interesting to hear her talk about her life and everything she's grown up learning in the industry and how she's come to like develop herself as an entrepreneur, and like especially with opening up her own like online and digital channel and space where she hosts and creates a lot of things. So to me, it was very interesting. I love Keke Palmer. Like the audiobook, 10 out of 10 recommend. I don't rate nonfiction memoirs just because who am I to tell how someone else should tell their stories. I would highly recommend this one just to hear Keke explain things for herself. But I also think this one is very good for people who work in the entertainment or content creation space, because she goes into a lot about how content and media affects us personally and sort of how that drives our performance and how to go about utilizing that. It also has a bunch of little like quizzes and like journal prompts in there if that's what you're looking for. So if you're a performer, content creator somewhere in the entertainment space, this one I think is specifically a good listen or read for you. Lastly, we're entering or re-entering the world of Heartstopper again with Solitaire by Alice Oseman. So this is a YA queer coming of age following Tori Spring, who is the sister of Charlie Spring from the Heartstopper novels. I do believe Solitaire came out before Heartstopper. I think this was the first work from Alice Oseman. So, and I know that it's been updated since then, so I don't know what's changed and what hasn't. But in this one, Tori Spring is dealing with the aftermath of what takes place in Heartstopper Book 4 with Charlie's health and mental health and so on and so forth. Tori is also dealing with a slew of mental health problems. She is very much so nihilistic. Who cares about the world? Like, am I even one to matter? Like, her brain is just very much so in a very dark place. But while she is at school, this group called Solitaire, this very like secretive group, is starting to pull all of these pranks, which are causing a lot of havoc. So she teams up with this new guy that she meets, Michael Holden, who's essentially like the extremely ecstatic golden retriever sunshine to her very dark black cat depression. And she's not sure how to feel about him, but he seems to keep popping up in her life, and she seems to always want to be around him. And a little romance ensues from there. In this case, so it is confirmed that Tori is queer in the Heartstopper novels. It's not in the show, and I don't think it's confirmed, and it's not explicitly stated in this book, but Michael is explicitly stated as, I think he's either bi or pan. I'm not sure what they say. There's like a weird conversation, but if you're looking for that, Michael Holden, I will say this and I will say my piece. The Heartstopper show, and eventually the Heartstopper movie this year, does not do Tori Spring's like storyline justice. And I know it is supposed to center mostly around Nick and Charlie, but all of their friends get storylines, and we do get a little hint of Tori and Michael in the show. But I'm like, there was one scene in Heartstopper, like book 4, I was like yearning. Is it book 4 or book 5? I can't remember. I was yearning for. Like, seriously, I wanted it so bad. Maybe it's just because I'm the eldest queer daughter, and like I want those things to happen for Tori because I want it all. But hey, Michael Holden, up there with top YA book boyfriends, next to Nick Nelson and Orion Maxwell. We see you, we love you. And those are all the books that I read in the month of April. I ended up going through 5 out of the 6 books on my TBR, but one of those 5 was a DNF. I am in the middle of reading Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi, but I took a break for, monthly reset and the fact that I've got a lot to do this week with classes wrapping up and me needing to grade and put in grades for the next week. And then I move on to teaching for the camp. So let me know what y'all read in the month of April. Did you find any 5-star reads? And I'll see y'all in the next one.